It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to this special edition of Science Bowl. We started with 16 middle schools way back in September. We're down to the Final Four. This is the first of two semifinal games. Let's meet these elite contenders. First, from Hyattsville Middle School, would you say hello, please, to Orla Collins, Margot Matzuk, and Nathan Tablang. And from Greenbelt Middle School, here they are, Chidima and Bubuwisi Aluavu, Alex Swizdek, and Aname Efe. And now, here are the categories of questions we use on the Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing, and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
Here on the Science Bowl, we arrange our game board according to question difficulty. With the easier questions on the left, they're worth 5 and 10 points. The tougher ones worth 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points apiece. No penalties ever for incorrect answers. At the end of the 2 rounds today, one of these 2 schools will be going on to the final, vying for this year's championship in this, our 30th year of Science Bowl here in the Prince George's County Public Schools. Let's make sure everything works properly before we start. Let's go to the red team. Margaret, would you try your buzzer? It looks and sounds good. Good luck to you, Orla, and to Nathan. And Alex, give it a push. Yes, indeed. Working good over there. To you, to Chidima, and to Aname. Congratulations on making it this far in the competition. You guys are the best of the best. May the better team win. We go alphabetically, G before H. So Greenbelt, you get to start. Alex, please.
Dateline Science for 15.
Dateline for 15 points. Teams, there is a new book called Strange Glow that is all about William Röntgen's discovery of these that let his wife see her bones for the very first time. Greenbelt.
X-rays.
X-rays is right. Absolutely right. Strange Glow. Good book. Go. Green.
Science Potpourri for 15.
Potpourri for 15 points. Teams, this branch of science, which is on the border between biology and geology, is the study of fossils. Hyattsville.
Paleontology.
Paleontology, absolutely right. Some people think it's archaeology. That is only with human remains, but paleontology is the larger picture. Nicely done. Thank you, Orla. Go red.
Body systems for 10. Yeah, sure. Body systems for 10.
Body systems for 10 points. Teams, it was the 3rd generation of iPads that first introduced these displays named for this photo. Greenbelt.
Retina.
Retina or retinal displays, the photosensitive layer at the back of the eye. Thanks, Chidima. Go, Alex.
Let's get physical for 15.
Physical for 15 points. Teams, this gas, which is made in the stratosphere and filters out UVB rays, if it is made at the surface of the earth, is actually dangerous to your lungs. Name that gas. Hyattsville.
Ozone.
Ozone. Nicely done. Good teamwork over there. Go, Margot.
Zoo Parade for 10.
Zoo Parade for 10 points. Teams, anadromous fish like salmon that live their lives in the sea and go back to freshwater to breed are said to do this S initial thing when they lay their, yes, Hyattsville.
Spawn.
Spawn, absolutely right. The eggs themselves are known as the spawn, also the reproductive process. Good answer. 90 to 75 advantage red.
Green things for 5.
Green things for 5 points. Teams, if the grass is indeed greener on the other side, presumably it's because it has more of this pigment. Greenbelt?
Chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll is right. Yes, indeed. Go. Alex.
Dateline Science for 25.
Dateline for 25. The big one in that category, teams. Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon and the Washington Post, also has a company that builds spacecraft. And its newest spacecraft, for 25 points, is named for this first American astronaut who flew Greenbelt.
John Glenn.
Not John Glenn. Red team. This new spacecraft, owned by Jeff Bezos and his company, is named for this first American in space, first American astronaut who flew a Mercury capsule back in 1961. For 25 points, who was he?
Armstrong.
Alan Shepard. Alan Shepard is called the New Shepard spacecraft. Nice try, no points, go green.
Not number 5.
Yes, sir.
Science Potpourri for 10, I guess.
Science Potpourri for 10 points. Teams, it recently has been discovered that the 3 items most resistant to decomposition in a landfill are plastic bags, juice boxes, and these worn by babies. Hyattsville?
Diapers.
Diapers. And it's getting worse because a lot of elderly people are now wearing diapers as well. We won't talk about that. All right, go red.
Body systems for 5.
Body systems for 5 points. Teams, your question is as follows. The first cervical vertebrae that holds your head up, Greenbelt.
Atlas.
The Atlas bone, named for the mythological character who held up the world on his shoulders. Thanks, Chittima. Go green.
Body systems for 25.
Body systems for 25. Big one in that category. Teams, EEG is an acronym for electroencephalogram that measures the electrical activity in your brain. I will give you 25 points if you can give me the acronym or the name of the similar test for measuring electroactivity. Greenbelt.
EKG.
EKG or ECG, electrocardiogram, electroactivity in the heart. Good anticipation there. That puts you into the lead. 110, 100 Greenbelt advantage.
Green things for 25.
Green things for 25. Big one in that category. Teams, parrots, they seem like very cute birds, but they're now being called plant carnivores because they don't care about the pulp of the fruit. They use their strong beaks, break open the seed, and then kill and eat what young plant inside. Hyattsville.
Embryo.
Embryo. That's what I want to hear. Good answer. 25 points. Go Hyattsville.
Do something really small.
Let's get physical for 5.
Get physical for 5 points. Teams, if you don't use fabric softener, doing laundry can be dangerous because you'll generate a lot of this. Hyattsville.
Static electricity.
You got that right, indeed. All right, whoa, that was a fast round. It was a great round as we expected. Let's check that score as we go to the break. Hyattsville 130, Greenbelt 110. We'll be back with round 2 of this semifinal game in just one moment. Don't go away.
If you're like most families, you probably have video game fans in your home. But not every game is right for every kid, which is where the ESRB ratings come in. They help parents make informed decisions for their kids. And there's an easy-to-use mobile app that gives you detailed info on specific game ratings. Video game consoles have parental controls that you can set to block certain games by age rating, so they get all the fun, and you get peace of mind.
Welcome back to Science Bowl. So nice to have you here today for this very hard-fought semifinal match, and we'll get back to the questions in just a moment. But all of our students today, for having made it this far in our competition, will be taking home as remembrances of their time on Science Bowl an Audubon field guide, and they can have the choice of whatever suits their fancy in science. We've got birds and mammals and insects and reptiles, weather systems, fossils, rocks. Just our way of saying thank you to these excellent students who have been with us, many for a number of years. And the winning team, our ultimate champion, that team will be taking home a trophy, a plaque for their school, and individual plaques for themselves and for their sponsors. Let's find out about these teams. If you've not had the pleasure of meeting them earlier in the season or in years past, let's introduce them to you right now. Let's go to Hyattsville. And Orla, nice to have you back. This is your 3rd year with us, and boy, it shows. You are just such a great player. Headed to Penn someday. And what would you like to study?
I think I'd like to study math. is very interesting to me.
Yeah, and I know you're an avid reader, and that accounts for so much of what you show us here, all that you know about science. How do you know so much about science?
Well, from practice, and we also like to look at the current science and the headlines and news just to make sure that we know everything and we're keeping up with everything.
Absolutely. And you were here with the University Park team, and some of you that might have seen the Science Bowl posters around the county probably have seen Orla's picture on there. She's kind of famous, as is her teammate, our captain Margot, who is, how many times have you been on the show now, Margot?
3.
3 times, and Margot is our captain. Tell us about Hyattsville for people who don't know about the school. Who's your principal over there?
Our principal is Mr. Boone.
Absolutely, and he's relatively new to the school, and I know I met him on the first day of school, and he's a go-getter. And the sponsor of your team is Mr. Howard Knights?
And Miss Davis.
And Miss Davis, yes indeed. 2 great sponsors, and thank you both for all that you've done to get these young people ready for today. Alternates on the team, Margot, any?
Isaiah and Michael.
Wonderful. We'll bring them out in just a few moments. And I always like to ask students what their favorite thing is about their school. If you had to pick one thing, what would you tell us?
I really like our CPA program. We have lots of performing arts. Like we have dance, drama, and choir. And we also have visual arts and creative writing.
Wow. Creative and performing arts. And you guys are a work of art yourselves just by all the wonderful things you do here on the Science Bowl set. Margot, someday you want to work at Johns Hopkins, and as a what?
I want to be a child life specialist. They're the people who go around at the hospital, and for kids who don't know what's happening or who want somebody to talk to, they explain things, they help give distractions, and they help make the hospital stay easier pretty much.
Absolutely, because it can be a scary, intimidating place, and I can see you have a calming effect on other young people. They'd be lucky to get you. Nathan, nice to have you here today. What do you want to do someday?
I want to study computer science or will be an anesthesiologist.
Yes, and we were talking before that anesthesiologists can make a fair amount of money, can't they? Yes, indeed. So there's nothing wrong with making money, and if it's something that you really like, it's your passion, you want to get out and do it every day, and you're a critical portion of anybody's surgery. What do you do in your spare time?
I read science articles and listen to music.
That's wonderful.
I also do homemade experiments.
Ah, like what?
I like baking soda and vinegar as the basic.
Yeah, that's great. It's good just to take precautions, and it can be a lot of fun. You're an 8th grader. Margot and Orla are 7th graders. Let's go over to Greenbelt. Alex, nice to have you here today. Tell us the Greenbelt story. Who's your principal?
Our principal is Dr. Colden. Mr. Colden, sorry.
Mr. Colden, yes, indeed. And the sponsor of your team?
Dr. Gupta, who's currently out for extended sick leave. We currently have Miss Glenn.
Miss Glenn and Miss Glenn, thank you, Ms. Antoinette Glenn, for being here and stepping in. And Dr. Gupta, we wish you a speedy recovery. We miss you here today, and we're thinking about you. Any alternates on your team, Alex?
Yes, Ryan.
Ryan, okay, and we'll bring him out in just a few moments with Miss Glenn. Best thing about Greenbelt?
It has a lot of technology.
Has lots of?
Technology.
Yeah. It's a relatively new school, too.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place over there. Someday, Alex, what do you want to do?
I want to be an astrophysicist.
That's wonderful. All right. Well, you're a good captain here. I like how you play the game. Chidima, you have been here for many, many times, and you were with the Glen Arden Woods team at one time. Yes, and you really know. How do you know so much about science? Because you do.
Basically just acquired knowledge, like just read the back of like a cereal box. You'd be surprised what you learn from that. Just random articles every day, just come across it different ways.
I love that, because if you read a cereal box at the side of a milk carton, there's a lot of science on there. That's a great piece of advice. What do you want to do someday?
I want to be a pediatric cardiothoracic surgeon.
Yeah, you were telling me about that before, and I have no doubt you're going to achieve your goal. You're a disciplined and you're a very smart young lady. It's good to have you with us. Anime, tell us about yourself. I know you like to read. You were recommending a book to us earlier. What was that book?
House of the Scorpion.
Yeah, and reading just takes you everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like reading like all different types of books, whether it be like fantasy or science books, anything really. As long as it's a good book, then I'll probably read it.
Absolutely. It's a good book where you don't want it to end. It's like, oh no, I don't want to give up on that. Do you want to be a writer yourself someday?
No.
What would you like to do?
I really wanted to be a pediatric cardiologist, which is basically somebody that they diagnose and treat heart problems in infants and kids.
Absolutely. You and Chidma have very similar interests in that region. Absolutely right. Good to have you here. Let's get back to our game. Greenbelt 110, Hyattsville 130. Last correct answer came from the red team. You have a 20-point advantage and a fair number of high-valued questions left. Still anybody's game. Margot, start us out.
Soup parade for 5, please.
Soup parade for 5 points. Teams, this parasitic bird must have a good PR agent because most people, when they think of it, think of a bird that pops out of a clock. Greenbelt.
Cuckoo.
The cuckoo clock. Yes, indeed. Green, go.
Science potpourri for 25.
Potpourri for 25 points. Teams, what same word precedes a microscope that has 2 lenses, an objective and an eyepiece, and a bone fracture that breaks through the skin? Hyattsville.
Compound.
Compound. A compound microscope and a compound fracture. You got it, Margot. Go red.
Physical for 10.
I'm sorry?
Let's get physical for 10,
Let's get
please.
physical for 10 points. Teams, a 7th grader recently had a science fair experiment that tackled Deflategate, about that AFC championship game where the footballs were underinflated. And he found just by being in cold temperatures, it lost to Hyattsville.
Just say PSI.
PSI.
PSI, absolutely. 2 pounds per square inch. Thanks, Orly. You pulled that one out at the last moment. Go red.
Green things for 10.
Green things, 10 points. Teams, we Washingtonians know that during cherry blossom season, when the announcement is made that 70% of the cherry blossoms are blossoming, we have hit this. Hyattsville.
Peak bloom.
Peak bloom, absolutely right. That means get in your car and get stuck in traffic. Okay, go red.
Green things for 15.
Green things for 15 points. Teams, 400 million years ago when green plants first came onto this earth, they devised photosynthesis, which is about taking inorganic matter and turning it into this Greenbelt.
Glucose?
Glucose or sugar, absolutely right. That is the organic molecule I was after. Good, Alex, go.
Let's get physical for 25.
Good physical for 25, big one in that category. Teams, we know that on Pluto, the snow isn't made of water. It is made of this. Hyattsville.
Nitrogen.
Not nitrogen. Good try. Greenbelt. On Pluto, the snow is not made of water as it is here on Earth. It is made of this gas with the formula CH4 that we know here as marsh gas.
Methane?
It is methane, indeed. Yes, good. Go. Let's turn that light out. Go to green.
Soup parade for 25.
Soup parade for 25. Big one in that category, teams, is as follows. We know that Archaeopteryx, that fossil that showed feathered dinosaurs, made it look like dinosaurs flew with feathers. They did not. Those feathers, like the feathers on today's flightless birds, do 2 other things for those birds. What are those 2 other things? All right, Hyattsville's going to weigh in, and Greenbelt is readying an answer in case I need to come to them. What are those 2 things that the feathers do, most likely did for the dinosaurs and do for flightless birds today?
They can provide, they help with homeostasis for either warmth or cooling, and they impress other birds for mating.
Absolutely right. Yes, it's for insulation and also for displays. Perfectly done. Good. Red.
Zoo parade for 15.
Zoo parade for 15 points is a visual question. Look at the monitor in the studio if you would, please. This reptile, because it has movable eyelids and an inflexible jaw and external ear openings, is not a snake. It's this. Greenbelt.
A lizard?
It's a lizard. That is a glass lizard, so named because its tail can break off and it shatters like glass. Green.
Dateline science for 20.
Dateline for 20 points. Teams, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt on the mall in a wheelchair because he suffered from infantile, yes,
Polio?
Greenbelt.
Polio?
Polio, yes, otherwise known as infantile paralysis. That's what I wanted to hear. Go.
Science potpourri for 20.
Potpourri for 20 points is a multiple choice question. Teams, it is now said that you can travel to a Zika virus country if you go at least 1.25 miles up. Would you be at 6,000 feet, 6,500 feet, or 7,000 feet to avoid the chance of getting Zika?
The first one.
Not the first one. You have a choice between 6,000, 6,500, and 7,000 feet. It's a mile and a quarter.
A mile and a quarter, so that's 2,500, which becomes about 100.
What you got?
Yeah, 6,500.
6,500, yes indeed. Good, green.
Body systems for 20.
Body systems for 20 points. Team's two-part answer. If I asked you about the ossicles, O-S-S-I-C-L-E-S, you would tell me these are the tiniest of these found where?
Bones in the ear.
That's it, green.
Let's get physical for 20.
Let's get physical for 20 points. Teams, your question is as follows. On the surface of Jupiter, there is a storm that has been raging for 150 years with 500-mile-per-hour winds. It is like a hurricane that never ends. It is known more...
Great red spot.
Hyattsville.
Great red spot.
You got it. It is the Great Red Spot. Yes, ma'am. Go.
Okay. Potpourri for 5.
Potpourri for 5 points, teams. Every year, scientists and mathematicians in particular celebrate... Yes.
Pi Day?
More information, please.
March 14th.
On March
Pi
14th.
Day.
That's what I want to hear. Good. Green.
This year was Rounded Pi Day.
Yes.
Zoo Parade for 20.
Zoo Parade for 20 points, team. Big question is a multiple choice question there. Teams, because of melting glaciers and oil spills and global warming, some creatures are in danger of hyperthermia. I said it was a multiple choice question. Hyattsville.
Elevated body temperature.
You're going to kick yourself. Greenbelt. The choices here, the multiple choices I was about to give you, are which of the following animals would suffer from hyperthermia? Would it be an oil-soaked pelican, an emperor penguin, or a musk ox? What you got? Answer, please.
Penguin.
The musk ox, because it's got all of that heavy fur and it's going to get overheated. The other ones are threatened with hypothermia, not hyperthermia. Green again.
Green things for 20.
Green things for 20 points. Teams, interesting question. If a cactus is sitting in the desert and it has not rained in years, it contracts on itself and all of its spines come together making an impenetrable mass. And then to conserve water, it sheds these. Greenbelt.
Spines?
No. Hyattsville. To conserve water, it sheds these. This cactus that has contracted because it has not rained in years, its spines are there making an impenetrable mass. What does it shed?
It sheds its flowers and buds.
It sheds its roots. Its roots. There is no water there to be pulled in. So get rid of those roots so that the soil does not suck all the water back out. Green.
Body systems for 15.
Body systems, 15 points, multiple choice question, teams. Because most of us today use iodized salt, our thyroid gland does not expand into a green belt. What you got?
It's contracting the thyroid gland?
Nope. Hyattsville, because we use iodized salt, most of us, our thyroid gland does not expand, causing glaucoma, gout, or goiter. What you got?
Glaucoma.
Goiter was the right answer there. 2 questions left. Greenbelt, choose.
Dateline science for 10.
Dateline for 10 points. Before I ask the question, let's do a score check. 220, Hyattsville, 235, Greenbelt. We have a 5 and a 10 left here. Conceivably, you could tie this game. That's where we are. This is the 10-point question in Dateline Science, teams. Watson's IBM computer, known as a cognitive learning computer, is an example of AI. Hyattsville.
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence, it is absolutely right. And our last question of the game, a 5-point question, Dateline, for 5 points, is a visual question. Look at the monitor, please. Teams, on the left there, you will see the head of a tapeworm that looks like something Dr. Seuss might have drawn. In fact, this creature's scientific name is Seuss apex carryberries. Sucipex meaning the first of its scientific names, known as the what name? Greenbelt.
Genus name?
It is the genus, absolutely right. And with that, it looks by 10 points that Greenbelt has prevailed. We'll double check that score and be back in a moment. Don't go away.
Minds can achieve anything. We make sure they get to college. Federal student aid provides more than $150 billion in grants, loans, and work-study funds to make college possible for anyone with the mind to get there. Because if given the chance, minds will do great things. Federal Student Aid, proud sponsor of the American Mind. Learn more about money for college at studentaid.gov.
The Science Bowl is very special. I participated in it. I watch it. My children watch it. My grandchildren watch it. It's a legend, not just in Prince George's County, but throughout the state. And I just want to say congratulations for a job well done. 30 years and counting.
And welcome back, and our appreciation to Senator Mike Miller, the President of the Maryland Senate, for his nice tribute to Science Bowl in its 30th year. Senator Miller was actually a panelist here many years ago, and we appreciate his kind words. Our final tally today, we expected a nail-biter, and that's exactly what we got. All of these young people are champions. Our final score is Hyattsville 230, Greenbelt by 10 points, 240. One step closer to a first ever county championship. Anna Mae and Alex and Chittima, congratulations. Alex, you can smile now if you want. Ryan, congratulations to you. Miss Glenn, thank you for doing this. And I know Dr. Gupta has to be pleased. And I want to see some big smiles over here. You guys are champs too. Nathan, Margot, and Orla, let's give them a hand too. Michael and Isaiah, I know you were yelling and screaming down there. And we're lucky to have Mr. Knights here today. Miss Davis is here. And a special treat, the relatively new principal, but a great principal, Mr. Boone, is back there as well. Thank you, Mr. Boone, for being here to support your team, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on the next semifinal game, and stick with us for the county championship match as well. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.